Welcome to episode 121 of the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. My name is Esther. I'm a registered nurse, and I am so proud and honored to show up here every single week for you so that you can become more empowered in your own health, so that you can show up and know what to do. You can know what questions to ask, how to solve your health puzzles. And that does not mean that everything is smooth sailing on my end. So today I'm actually changing up what I had planned. I was going to talk about how prevalent Hashimoto's is, like how many people have it. And then I had a conversation. Actually, this was spurred on by 3 different conversations. One was with a friend who was telling me that she, every single winter, she starts to feel worse. And it usually starts in October for her. And that made me remember that I'd seen something on social media and about the October slide. And I asked if she had ever heard of it. She's like, no, what is that? We talked about it a little bit. And then just today I was talking to my husband. I just feel like I'm just existing this week instead of actively going through my days. I feel like I am just maintaining and just checking the bare minimum boxes to get through the day and through the week instead of showing up how I want to. And it kind of snuck up on me. And I was surprised because, a month or two ago, even a couple weeks ago, I was getting things done. I was feeling like I was showing up for myself, for my family, for my 2 different businesses plus a job. I was on top of things and not this week. I wonder about that October slide. Then I was talking to somebody else this evening. And I'm like, you know what? I really should make a episode about this. It is no longer October, but it still applies. I'm curious, have you ever heard of this October slide? And if so, have you experienced it? Even if you haven't heard of it, let's talk about it. And you can tell me if you have experienced it. Make sure to come over to Skool, to our community, and join in a conversation. Start a new conversation. Engage in the community. I really want it to be a robust place where you can make friends and you can find encouragement. You can find answers to your questions. You can find people to relate to. And what did you do when you experienced this? I just love the conversations that we're having so far, and I'm thrilled to welcome you. It is a free community. The Skool platform, Skool, is a free platform. They do have an app, and the app works really nice. They also have a desktop version. You can get on there, and there are, hundreds, if not thousands, of groups already. Our group, our community, is the Health with Hashimoto's community. It is free to join. When you get into the community, there is a discussion tab where you'll see all of the conversations. And then there's also a classroom tab where you can go through all of the courses that I have created for you, the paid courses and the free courses. When it comes to the new year, we will do the Transform Your Year in the classroom. I might make a group or a conversation about it as well. I have not decided yet, but all of that is in our Skool community. So make sure to hop on over there and join the conversation over there. So what is the October slide? Well, let me read you what it actually stands for. The SLIDE do stand for something. And this, I don't know where it originated, so I cannot give credit to the person who came up with the acronym. I have seen it a lot on Instagram, especially when I search for October slide. I see a lot of it then. But that's where I originally saw it, and I have seen numerous reels and posts about the October slide. So slide stands for the different things that are changing in the fall season. So this is, October, November, even a little bit September for people in the northern hemisphere. That's the word I'm looking for. And then in the southern hemisphere, you're going to have your fall or autumn, slide in April and May. I think that's what your fall starts, right? And so it stands for S, school or work stress. So our stressors go up. School or work stress. The L is low barometric pressure. So that's atmosphere stuff. It's not something that most of us think about every day, but the atmosphere, the barometric pressure does change in the fall. Then also the I illnesses increase. And of course, we all know this. When people start going indoors more, when kids go back to school and sharing germs, illnesses do increase. The days, this is D, the days darken and we have lower vitamin D. And that we know that vitamin D is so crucial for your immune system. It is so important for so many different functions in your body, and low vitamin D is a problem. In fact, when I was in the emergency department and they wanted to give us flu shots every year, I did some research and I was like, you know what? Research says that that getting my vitamin D up and taking probiotics both work better to prevent influenza and respiratory viruses than the flu shot. That is what I found in the research. And so I would refuse it every year and I would give them my research. And of course, I know that the nurses who are actually giving the flu shots, they're just checking a box. Most of them don't really care if you get it or your reasons why you're not getting it. But I would still, every single year, I would say, I am not getting the flu shot because I am going to increase my vitamin D and I am going to take probiotics every day. Therefore, I will be more protected than this. We're going to guess on 3 strains of influenza and we're going to inject this into your body and who knows what else we're going to inject. I was just like, no, I'm going to do what actually works better. That's a whole nother topic. So vitamin D, or the days darken, that is the D. And then the E in slide is that exercise ebbs. We tend to exercise less when it gets cold. And I will freely admit that I am a fair weather walker. If it is windy outside, I am not going to go for a walk. And this morning, I checked my weather app and it said it was going to be windy. It also said it was going to be drizzly. Now, I don't care about a little bit of moisture. I'm not going to usually walk in the rain if it's really cold. But if it's cold and windy, or if it's rainy and windy, I am out. So I checked the weather this morning and it said windy. And it said drizzly and cold, like in the 40s, which is not too bad. And I was like, if it's windy, no. Now, I can't go outside and check the wind because where I live, our house is surrounded by woods and trees. So we don't get the wind like I do in town when I drive my kids into town to take them to the bus stop, my middle two. Then I go on my walk, on my 2-mile walk. So I did not bring my headphones because I wasn't going to go for a walk. And then I got into town being a fair weather walker and it was not windy. And I was like, oh, shoot, I could have gone for a walk today. But without my earbuds, I didn't want to go for a walk because then I can't listen to my audio Bible. I try to listen to that every single morning on my walk. That is my daily time with God. Of course, I spend time with God else, throughout the day. But that's like my dedicated time. I listen to the Bible every day. I've chosen that for my Bible, quote, reading plan for this year. And then I also listen to the news. I catch up on another couple podcasts. I listen to everything in at least double time so that I can get through a lot more. But my exercise ebbs because I'm a fair weather walker. So I didn't exercise this morning. I didn't go for my walk. And I told myself I was going to get on my treadmill. And did I? I did not. I did not. So that's slide. School or work stress increases, low barometric pressure, illnesses increase, the days darken and our vitamin D goes lower, and our exercise ebbs. You put all of those things together and what do you realize? We're hitting a bunch of triggers. If you have gone through Hashimoto's decoded root causes revealed, you are recognizing that some of those are triggers for autoimmune problems, specifically for Hashimoto's. They're also triggers for other things. That's why this October slide is in the chronic illness community. It's not just confined to Hashimoto's. It is so many people because these things do matter. Of course, our stress matters so much for our immune system. So let me walk you through what I am going to do as somebody experiencing this October, now it's November slide. And this slide does persist. It is the fall and even winter months. And if you look on the research sites, you will see that a lot of immune system things worsen in the winter. And I was so curious about that when I found out, maybe last year, I found out that your TSH typically changes in the winter. And is that related to this October slide or is it related to something else? I am not sure, but I'm so fascinated by it. And if you know, I would love to know what you know. So let me know in the Skool community. How many times did I say no in that, 2 sentences? It was a lot. Okay, this is what I am going to do. Number one, I am going to prioritize rest. Why? Because my body is asking for it. I am tired. So I'm going to make sure that I do the things that I know that I need to do at bedtime. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to put that in the drawer. And I have not been super good about that. It's been election season. I have been watching the news, and it's been really interesting watching everything develop. So I'm going to put my phone in my drawer. That is one way to prioritize rest because my brain needs to shut down and my eyeballs don't need that blue light. And then I'm going to get out my book. I might do some rebounding. I do have a mini trampoline and some gentle bouncing before bed. I have found it helps me warm up, which is good, but it's not too strenuous of exercise to wake me up. So I love to do some rebounding right before bed, just to get my blood moving, move my lymph before I go to bed, and like I said, warm up. Other things you can do at bedtime would be write down your gratitudes for the day in your gratitude journal. I do not write my gratitudes in the evening, but a lot of people do. It's a way to reflect on the day. I will pray and thank God for things in the evening, but when I write them down, I usually write them down in the morning when I am looking at my planner for the day. That is when I write down my gratitudes. So number one, I'm going to prioritize rest. And then I'm going to look at my other daily habits. Am I making sure that I'm having enough water? I know that's so important for me. Am I taking my activators? Am I making sure that I'm getting my Protandim NRF2 every day, which I have been? Side note, I was reading through some published research and papers the other day. It was 55 pages, and that was just one PDF. I think there were 2 different PDFs, both about that length. And each little research, what do they call it, poster, was about a half to a full page. So that's a lot of research. And there were a couple who mentioned the NRF2 pathway and how it can help with Hashimoto's or thyroid. It was thyroid, not Hashimoto's. And they were talking about, maybe some medications can help with this NRF2. And I was like, wait, what? We don't need medications. We have an herbal product already here. It's already tested and proven. It already has over 30 different peer-reviewed research studies showing that it works. It's so amazing. And evidently the people who are writing that research did not know about that, but they're talking about the NRF2 pathway and how helpful it is for thyroid function. So if you're not taking Protandim NRF2 already, you can listen to the episodes that I've done on more energy or just activation. And you could also go into the Skool classroom. One of the classes or courses that's free is what do I use? What are my favorites? What are the products that I use? And I've got a lot of information about activation in that classroom. And along with the activators, I'm also going to look at my supplements. I typically do a little bit less vitamin D in the summer because I'm outside, and then I do more in the winter. So I don't think I have increased it. I know I have not increased it yet this fall. So maybe it's time to check my vitamin D level and then increase how much I'm taking every day. After all, Slide includes vitamin D. And that brings me to labs. How often do you get your lab work done? If you're on levothyroxine or Synthroid or something like that, they have you on a schedule. And if you're not on it, do you go see your doctor and get your labs, or your provider and get your labs done every 6 months? Do you do it every year? How often do you do it? Typically, I do it once a year, and that's because I'm not on any medications, and I typically have everything under control except for during the winter. So that's when I go see my nurse practitioner, and it is time to make an appointment and get all of my labs done, including vitamin D, so I know how to adjust my dosage. And then also, I will go back on low-dose naltrexone. I have done that for the past 2 winters, and it really, really helps my symptoms. It helps my immune system function a little bit better. I have not done a full episode on low-dose naltrexone, but I should. At a full dose, naltrexone is a medication used to treat alcohol and opioid dependence, actually. And it makes you really sick if you have alcohol or opioids. But they figured out that if you have a teeny tiny dose, like about 1/30th of the standard dose, then it can be useful for other conditions, things like autoimmune problems, for long COVID, for Crohn's and multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, for so many different things. They have found that LDN, or low dose naltrexone, can be helpful. So I do that every winter, and it is time to go get my prescription refilled. And finally, the last thing that I will be re-implementing is a focus on staying warm. And I've already started to do this, but I am cold. I get cold easier than the rest of my family. Part of that is due to just me, and part of it is due to my thyroid. We know that when your thyroid is not putting out enough T4, when your levels are off, you tend to run a little cold. Your metabolism tends to slow down a little bit. And one thing that I need to do for myself is make sure that I stay warm. So I typically do long johns, extra sweatshirts. I just layer up, and I have found that a hot bath is the best thing for me. And I feel silly going to take a bath. And why do I feel silly? I have no idea. I don't know if it's because my brain still is stuck in like a bath is something that little kids do or that you do for self-care. It's not just something that you can do every day as maintenance. It feels like it should be special, and it's not just a special thing. It's just I need to go warm up, and 20 minutes in the tub. It's actually like I start to warm up within 5 to 10. It is so nice. And then I sleep better because I'm warm all the way to my bones. Or I can just function better throughout the day because I have fully warmed up. And that is something that I am going to try to do more of this year, and just tell my brain that it's okay to go and sit in the bathtub for 20 minutes. It's really okay. Would I rather spend like an hour huddled underneath my blankets with a rice bag or something trying to heat up and be like completely not productive, just miserable? Or would I rather just take a book and go sit in the bathtub for 20 minutes? It's efficient. I know it works. It's relaxing, and I get to read a book. So like, what are the downsides? I don't know. Maybe that I'm using water, but it's okay. We have a well. So those are some things that I am doing for myself. And how I got to all of these things is I looked at the triggers. I looked at the acronym for October Slide, and I looked at my personal, like my cold, feeling cold. And I put them all together, and I came up with a game plan, because I am in control of my health, and you are in control of your health. You are the CEO of your own health. You get to make the decisions. You get to look at the data. You get to look at what's going on, what is changing, what can I do? What can I do in this season? Like sometimes, there are some days when I would not be able to go take a bath because I am just running from the beginning to the end of the day, and I don't have that time. And if I feel cold or if I feel stressed or something, I just have to push through. Like we have those days, but on days where you can like slide something else in, then do it, because you are in control. And when you're having a day where you are feeling just like you're existing, like I said at the beginning, when you have one of those days and you're just doing the bare minimum, you kind of realize that you actually do have time for some self-care, to take care of yourself, not for like special, luxurious things, but just like taking care of yourself, because you function better when you're doing that. And then when you're functioning better, you end up having more time in the day. When I am on top of things and when I am working efficiently, then I can get so much more done. So taking 20 minutes and sitting in the bathtub and warming up, it might end up giving me double that time back, because I can be so much more effective after that. I would love to know your thoughts about this. Number 1, have you experienced this autumn slide? And number 2, what are you doing about it? And then number 3, do you have any tips for me? Do you have a favorite, like long johns? I looked at some wool leggings. They're like $150. And maybe you know of some that are cheaper, because I do not have the budget to spend $150 on some wool leggings right now. Not even if I know they're going to keep me warm. I have some others, and they're not natural fibers, but they will keep me warm. So I'd love to know your opinions on it. Let's make this a conversation instead of just me sharing about my life, which I love to do occasionally. And I hope this kind of episode that you also enjoy it, instead of just giving you like facts and information and helping you do stuff. I'm also sharing how I'm applying it into my life. So let me know your thoughts. Come join the Skool community, and I will see you next week on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any concerns and plans with your trusted healthcare professional. If you found this episode helpful, will you please share it with a friend? I'll see you next week on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.